Oh, the rain is chucking down now. Hi there again, Booktube. Leanne here and welcome back to Leanne's Library. I thought today that I would record part one of my digital TBR because over the course of lockdown I have acquired a lot of Kindle books. So, as well as like audiobooks and all that kind of stuff. I have obviously ordered books online as well because there's not really any helping it when you can't go to a bookshop. But there is a video coming up of the haul that I have having gone to a bookshop for the first time in over a year. I mentioned it in my last video, so I hope you're all anticipating that. But yes, I have acquired quite a few books. Before lockdown started, I think I maybe had like 7 books on my Kindle TBR. I didn't use it anywhere near as much as I do now. But this is all just going to be what is currently on my TBR. And yeah, the first video starting with just Kindle books. So this is part 1 of 3 of my digital TBR. So I'm going to start with older books. The first one on there is Justice Buried by Hilary Thompson. This is a dystopia book. If I remember correctly, I think like the world's been split into 3 or something along those lines, and the main character is supposed to be able to save them. I don't remember much about it, and I've had it for the longest time. I think it's been on my Kindle since the beginning, since I had a Kindle, and I still haven't read it, so whether I ever read it or not is another matter. I have not been in the mood for dystopia for a long while. The only dystopia I've even enjoyed recently has been Scythe, because they are absolutely brilliant books. So if I ever get into dystopia again, maybe I'll pick it up, but yeah. Comment down below if it's something you've read and you think I should read it. The next book on my Kindle TBR is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobbs. Robin Hobbs is a fantasy author, a very popular one at that. I don't know much about it. I'm supposed to read Assassin's Apprentice or that series first anyway, as far as I'm aware. I did read Assassin's Apprentice a long time ago. Don't remember much about it. I remember maybe not being in the mood for that kind of fantasy at the time. So I'm going to have to maybe give it another read at some point and give it a second chance. Because, like I said, I don't think that was the book that I needed at the time. So maybe I'll give that another chance at one point, read them, and then get to the Ship of Magic series. The next series on there is, I think it's a series that my partner bought a while back. It's called the Requiem series. The only thing I know is that there's like a dragon on the cover, and it's by Daniel Appinson. So I don't know anything about that. That's been on there a long time. I also have The Hedge Knight on there by George R.R. Martin. I started reading that a while ago and just dropped it for some reason, even though it seemed really good at the time. I'm pretty sure it's just about a hedge knight doing things. That's all I know. It's very George R.R. Martin, so I assume death and just all around grim dark stuff is going to happen in that. I also have the Dragonlance series, books 1 to 3 by Meg Jensen. Don't know what they're about. They've been on there for the longest time as well. And the other 2 books that have been on there the longest time is Bitterwood, and that has a dragon on the cover. That's by James Maxey, I think. And there's a book called Mark of the Mage, and that's by R.K. Riles. All of these books, I have no idea what they're about, really. They've just been on my Kindle, sat there, doing nothing. I don't know. I really don't know. So, going into my more recent purchases over the course of lockdown, Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. That's meant to be a very, very popular book. So Daughter of Smoke and Bone is a fantasy romance by the looks of things, maybe some paranormal elements. There's something to do with these scorched marks appearing on doors and some kind of slit in the sky, which sounds very interesting. So I want to read that at some point. I've only heard good things about Laini Taylor, and she's written A Daughter of Smoke and Bone, that series, and she's also written the Stranger Dreamer series. The next book on my Kindle TBR is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I know it's something to do with a siren or sirens that hate humans, and I think they like take the hearts of people. So I think the main character, Lyra, I think she's a princess. She kills one of her own, she kills another siren, as far as I'm aware. And as a punishment for doing that, she's turned into a human, the one thing that she really hates. To get back to where she was, she's got to kill a prince and take back his heart. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be like some kind of romance between them two, which is highly likely. And yeah, obviously the story progresses from there, so that sounds like a really good read, and I've never actually read a book with sirens in before, so that'll be a start for me, be a first. Another book on my TBR, which I heard from Brighton as Katie Reads, is The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. Came out last year, 2020. As far as I'm aware, it's about a person who knows what her own death's gonna be. She's meant to be a sacrifice, and I think she's offered to kind of not be a sacrifice, basically. And she can like either leave with this, and I think she has to like leave her religious beliefs behind and become a thief, a spy and an assassin, and do something political, I'm pretty sure. So that sounds really good, and apparently it's an LGBT book, so that'll be exciting to read. I'm looking forward to that. The next one on my TBR is The Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. I heard about this like ages ago, but it was on sale on Kindle recently, so I just added it on because whenever anything on my wish list goes on sale, I just buy it because I'm cheap like that. Anyway, so it's a story about a princess whose country got taken over and a new queen has taken over, her own mother killed in the war, and she's crowned the Ash Princess. Basically, she gets punished for everything that goes wrong in the kingdom, and I think it's about her realizing what her place is in that kingdom because she was only 6 when it happened, and maybe like trying to take power back to her family and get her honor back and take power away from the people who invaded. I don't really know much else about it other than that. As far as I know, it sounds very Snow White-ish in a way. So yeah, that should be interesting to read one day. The next book on my Kindle TBR list is The Kingdom of Liars, Nick Martell. And this is something I've heard about recently as well. It's actually a debut fantasy book, and I've only heard good things about it, so. And I think it's about somebody who was branded a traitor at a young age, and so he's basically a criminal at this point who's basically been rejected by society. And I'm pretty sure it's a political thing again, maybe to get his honour back and get back into court politics and all that kind of stuff. But obviously in a criminal kind of way. So that sounds interesting too. The next book I purchased, which was, the rest of these are extremely recent. So another book I purchased recently was Cinderella is Dead by Kayleen Baron. And it's basically a sapphic fantasy story. So all the girls have to find the right guy. Basically, they're selected at a ball every year when they're like teenagers, perhaps. And it's like 200 years after Cinderella's died, so it kind of is based off that story. And if the girls aren't selected, then they're not heard of again. So you either marry one of these people at the ball or and hope you're chosen, or you're never heard of again. So I think it's a story basically about what happens to these girls, why all this is happening, and it's a sapphic story about a girl who runs away from this. Oh, the rain is chucking down now. Sorry about the background noise. Maybe I'll close the window. Okay, sorry if you can still hear the rain. So the main character would rather marry her childhood best friend than marry a guy at this ball. And so she flees, and I suppose the sapphic romance springs from there. So it sounds really, really interesting to me, and I want all of these new amazing books to be on my TBR, and I want to get to them. But there's so many books, and Cinderella said sounds amazing, so I do want to get that on my TBR soon. I hope I read it this year because it sounds amazing. The next book on my TBR is The Never Tilting World by Rin Pecco, and I actually want to add this onto my TBR for May, for this month, because the Faes and the Gays book club is reading that this month, so I want to be part of it. I've joined the Discord and I'm excited to be a part of it. So I do really, really want to read this book this month. This is basically about a world that's been split in two. I think one goddess controls one part of it and another controls the other. So two sisters have split the world apart, and I think the line is two sisters are supposed to be bringing it back together. I think one part of the world's day and the other part of it's night, and it's kind of broken. I think that's basically the synopsis of that. And again, this is another LGBT book, and I'm very, very excited to read it. There you go, it's cast up as a Frozen meets Mad Max book, which again sounds amazing. And it's filled with romance, immortal heroines, and elemental magic, which I love elemental magic. Yeah, so like I was saying, it was one side of it's perpetual night, and the other one is not just day, it's actually like scorching sun, so it looks more like a desert than anything. And like I say, two sisters are supposed to bring it back together. I don't know if it's the same sisters like the goddesses or what, but I am excited to read that this month. So, and be part of an actual book club. I've never done that before, so yay, I'm excited. The next thing on my Kindle TBR is The Long Way to a Small and Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is going to be my first read of a Becky Chambers book, so this is going to be like my tester to see what it's like, but it sounds very good, and I'm starting to want to get into sci-fi a little more, so this will be a push for me to do that because this sounds like a brilliant book. So the synopsis basically is a girl called Rosemary is joining a crew. She wants a peaceful life that's kind of a little bit chaotic because obviously you need some chaos in your life. Everybody needs a bit of chaos in their lives. And so the crew ends up being offered quite a dangerous job that's going to offer them years of comfort and happiness. Basically, they're just going to live a happy life if they succeed on this mission. But that's all I know about it is she wants a peaceful life. If she does this mission, it's going to be chaos, and it's going to be life changing, life risking. She's going to be risking her life on this job, which is kind of what she doesn't want, but it's kind of promising her all the things that she does want. So her and the crew, I assume, take the job, and it goes on from there, I guess, and it sounds very exciting. Somewhere I would like to continue on with my wanting to read sci-fi, because I've read the Illuminae files and they were brilliant, so I do want to read some sci-fi. I just didn't know where to start. Talking about Illuminae files, the only one I haven't read so far is Memento, which is like a short story that you can only get digitally at the moment, so I added that onto my Kindle list as well. I can't really say much about Memento because I don't want to know anything about it yet, because I've read the Illuminae files and I just want to go into this blind. So the next book on my Kindle list is Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I've heard nothing but good things about this too. It's high fantasy, it's LGBT, and it sounds amazing. And it's about thieves and crime, and I think some of my favourite fantasy is in the perspective of somebody who's a criminal. So I'm very, very excited to read Foundry Side, and I have heard nothing but amazing things about it, so I do want to read this soon. Another book I got recently was Serpent and Dove, and that's by Shelby Mahone. Don't know if I'm saying that right. But it was 99p on Kindle and it was on my wish list, so I got it. I don't know much about it apart from that I think it's a fantasy and it's got romance in it. I will have a quick look. Oh, so it's also about witches. That's even more exciting. So yeah, that looks like something I'd want to get to. It's about witches. That's all I really need to know. It's fantasy and it's about witches. And it was only 99p on Kindle, so I got it. So it looks like it's a book about a witch hunt, and it's about a witch hunter who falls in love with the witch that he's hunting. So that sounds exciting, and I look forward to reading that. The last thing I want to tell you on my Kindle TBR list is Jade City by Fonda Lee. Heard nothing but good things about this too, so I got it. As far as I know, it's about a gang war or something along those lines, and jade is the substance that makes magic happen, I guess. And so the two criminal gangs are maybe fighting over the jade. But yeah, that's all I really know about it, is that it's about people fighting over the jade that helps people use superhuman abilities. And it sounds very, very good, and I'm excited to read that too. I actually have newer books on my TBR and it's exciting. Like Jade City's been around since 2018 and that's new for me. Because I keep reading much older books that were popular ages ago. So it's nice to have some newer books on my TBR, even if it is just my Kindle TBR. And I am so excited to show you what I bought at Waterstones at a few charity shops and off Amazon recently. But that video is coming soon. I'm still waiting for Amazon to send me the last 3 books that I've ordered. I hope they come soon so I can film this book haul that I have. But yeah, I thought I'd give you an update on what's on my Kindle right now. If you think any of these books that are on my Kindle should be pushed up on my TBR pile to read sooner rather than later, let me know down in the comments. State your argument on why I should read it. Convince me, basically. Convince me to read the books on my Kindle because I am terrible at it. There's going to be a part 2, which is going to be like audiobooks that I have. So all my digital audiobooks on Audible. And there's also going to be a section or a video for Comixology because I haven't touched that in a while. Okay, thanks so much for watching my video and I will see you in my next one. TTFN, bye!